So here's what I want you to know. In the deep, you are coded or wired for wealth. But there's a lot of crap that comes up over lifetimes of wounding around money, both personally and collectively, that essentially comes up to conceal and cover up the fact that you are coded for wealth. So it gets in a way of us being able to not only see that, but to experience that and be able to receive it with ease. So today I'm talking about reclaiming and anchoring that truth and doing that in your body, actually embodying that with, so you can stop second guessing yourself and you can stop sabotaging yourself. So, for those of you who are watching live, welcome. And for those of you who are on the replay, welcome. Let me know where you're watching this from. Say hi. I'm in sunny, beautiful Boulder, Colorado. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa, and I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to say hi. It's always nice hearing that. So, I'm a spiritual nerd. I'm a licensed psychotherapist in private practice for over 15 years. And I mainly work with soulful entrepreneurs and transformational leaders as an expansion expert and a soulful strategist. I marry simple business strategies with nervous system rewiring, recoding, and expansion work to essentially rewire you and rewire your business for easeful client attraction, increased visibility, and high ticket sales and wealth. I help you remove all that rub that makes showing up in your brilliance and selling and bringing in money difficult. So, today the topic is how to shift our relationship to wealth and essentially recode ourselves so that we can have essentially a millionaire money makeover. But before I jump in, I just want to let you know I've opened for this month 5 Wired for Wealth clarity calls to explore like whatever wiring is going on within you and how to rewire you and your business for easeful and enjoyable wealth. So if you're ready to shift your ability to receive with ease both clients and money, then you can click in the link that's in the description of this live. Okay, let's get started. First, I'm going to start with a little story that's going to exemplify where I'm going today. So, a little while back, I started working with this brilliant woman around raising her rates and not having to work so damn hard for so little. And this client of mine, she's a wonderful coach and she's actually already pretty successful, right? Like even when she started working with me, she was bringing in consistent money and but she had hit like this upper ceiling where it's like no matter what she was doing, she couldn't quite break past making a certain amount of money every month. So there's like this upper limit, the ceiling that she couldn't move past. And what was interesting is even when she had record breaking month where she made a shit ton more money than she had in the past, almost like every month where that happened, something else happened to actually bring her back under that ceiling. So like one month, like her dog ate something while he was like hiking and got really sick and had to be hospitalized and all of that and cost her like thousands of dollars. Like another time, the fridge died out of nowhere and had to be replaced. And then a third time, like she was telling me something like her son was driving the car and then noticed that the car was overheating and like either blew the gasket or blew the motor up or something like that. So she had a huge like car repair bill. So she was having these things come up where either she couldn't make more money or even when she did, she was sabotaging that growth to bring her back in what we call essentially a place of comfort within the nervous system where your nervous system feels comfortable having and receiving. So at first I'm working with this woman and I'm trying to figure out like what's the nervous system block that's happening for her here. Like, is it that she's afraid that if she makes more money, people are going to ask her for money? Is it that she's afraid that if she brings in more client or higher paying client, she's going to lose her free time with her kids and her freedom? Like, is it that she doesn't want to make more than her parents made? So there's like actually an amount block? Like, what's happening? Is she afraid of getting really visible and really claiming her leadership, which I call the expansion wound or the expansion block? Because then, people might criticize her. She might attract negative attention in some way. Like, I couldn't quite figure out right at first what the block was. And by the way, we have all of them. Like, I almost don't care who you are and how well you're doing. You have some degrees of these wounds and these blocks within you. I do. I've never met someone, including seven-figure earners, who didn't have some of these. We just have them at different levels and at different intensity, essentially. So I'm working with her and we're talking. This was like probably session one or two. Um, and I'm wondering, like, is it a work thing? Like, she doesn't feel worthy, she doesn't deserve, which is another nervous system block. And then she said something to me. Like, we're talking about amount, we're trying to figure out, like, her blueprint. And she says, I really don't want to be rich. I don't need that much. I just want a little more. And then it kind of like hit me. And I was like, huh, tell me more about that. Why is that? And at first she was confused for a little bit because she hadn't said that with a whole lot of thought. It just kind of came out of her mouth, which, by the way, those tend to be the most insightful moments. Unconscious things that we don't realize. We just say them like that and don't realize how much of a root they have in our nervous system. And then she was like, well, I just want to have enough to not have to worry about money, to live well. But I don't need to be like rich, rich. I don't need to be or want to be like a lot of these people where everything's about money and they're kind of losing their identity to it. And I was like, bingo, here we are. Here we're discovering what the block really is. So, two things in that exchange with her became clear. First, she was denying a desire that she actually had to bring in wealth, to be wealthy. I mean, you want to think about the fact that this woman came to see me because she wanted to be rewired for wealth, that she wanted to rewire herself, recode her nervous system, rewire her business for wealth. And now here she is telling me, "Oh, I don't want to be rich. I don't have that's not what I really want." So there was a resistance, a denial of a deep desire there, and probably because there was some shame or something around it, which is part of what we're going to look at today. The other thing that became clear to me in that statement that she made is that she had a sense that rich people, wealthy people, in some way, shape, or form, were bad, had lost their way, and there was a wound in her nervous system, some kind of blocks, some kind of knot that if she became rich, she would abandon or betray herself in some ways, or she would betray what matters most to her and lose her way. So you can imagine from that perspective, of course, she can't bring past a certain level. Like, she's hitting that ceiling, she can't move past it. And from that perspective, her nervous system is a real ally to her. Her nervous system is really like protecting her from betraying herself, losing her way, dishonoring her values. Her nervous system is in some way, shape, or form keeping her safe from stepping into an environment where she would, in some way, shape, or form, either betray herself or her life. So if you can relate with this story in any ways and you want to explore what blocks might be happening in your own nervous system that's blocking your availability to ease, to success, to wealth, to client attraction, then you can just click the link above and just book one of those Wired for Wealth free calls. All right, so let's get started with the content here. What is it that we need to rewire, to recode within ourselves to essentially have easeful and enjoyable wealth? Because that's what we want in the end. We don't want to have to pay for it. We want things to feel easeful. We want things to feel nourishing, not only to our bank account, but to our soul. If not, it's not worth it. At least that's the way I feel. Hey, Dustin, I'm glad you're liking this. Um, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to move past any subconscious programming that's lodged in our nervous system that makes us afraid of money or gives us disdain in some way about wealth, wealthy people, or being wealthy. Here's what I want to say to you, and this is super true for, I work with a lot of soulful entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of um, transformational leaders. And the truth is that there are lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma and wounding around money, both personally as individuals in our own lives, in our ancestry, and also collectively in our world. So I find this push and pull between like I need money and money is bad shows up a lot in um, soulful entrepreneurs and people who are here to make a big difference into the world. But we can't move forward. We can't receive with ease. We can't receive without fear and without shame or guilt if we still hold on to any of that programming within us. And there's a lot of it in this culture, like filthy rich, the money is the root of evil. Money is the opposite of spiritual. People who have a lot of money are greedy, are selfish, they're power hungry, they'll exploit others. I mean, there's a shit ton of things for us to move through um, as soulful individuals. So essentially, the first step is always that we must shift our relationship with money and with wealth. Part of what we need to repair and reclaim is that wealth is health, that money is good, and or at the very least it is as good or as bad as what we do with it, as our relationship to it. So truly abundant people, people who have money but are in the place of abundance in their nervous system, in their body, do amazing things with money. People who are stuck in scarcity, who are stuck in lack, who are stuck in fear, are actually those who use money to exploit and abuse them others and abuse their power for money. Money is not the issue, but our scarcity is. Like the kind of programming we've got inside us is. If we are wired for abundance, for prosperity, for generosity, for knowing that there's always more than enough, then we can be relaxed around money. And that ability to be relaxed around it both makes it a lot easier for it to come in, and it also makes it almost impossible for us to abuse it in some ways. On the contrary, like people who are wired for abundance and who feel safe with money in their bodies are the most generous people that I know. So, as soulful entrepreneurs, we have to essentially reclaim that money is energy and it can be as spiritual, as good as anything else. And that for us to continue the powerful work that we're doing in the world, for us to keep serving people both in our homes and in the world, we need to make good money. And we need to be able to hold that without dirtying it in any kind of way so that that exchange is clean and then we can show up in the world from that place of spaciousness, from that generosity. Um, the more money we make, the more people we can help. That's the bottom line. That's true for your own self as an individual, and that's true for you as a leader, as a practitioner. Having more than enough money really frees all of us up to really concentrate on sharing our gifts. Like the amount of like wounded, broke healers that I've worked with who essentially are having a part-time job on the side because they can't charge enough for their work, but meanwhile because they're working somewhere else, they're not really serving to the degree that they can. They can't market, they don't have a whole lot of time, they don't have a lot of energy because they're tired from their regular job and they're burned out. Like that does not create an environment where we can serve and be a lighthouse in the world, which honestly, if not now, I don't know when, because the world really needs us who are here to be lighthouses, to show up and be able to do it at full capacity. So that was number one, is we need to shift our relationship to money and start seeing the goodness, the inherent health in wealth. Number two is we must fully own our deep desire for wealth. And we have to move past any shame. And this is kind of a second aspect to number one. We have to move past any shame around it, or any fear of owning our desire out of fear of being judged, or out of fear of not reaching our goal or being criticized or any of that. This was something that came up with my client. At some unconscious, deep level, she wanted wealth. She wanted to be rich. She wanted to have more than enough so that she could really show up from a place of generosity and empowerment in the world. And then there was something here, a little wound, a little contraction, some kind of knot in her nervous system that said, having a lot of money, having more than you need is bad. You don't want it. You don't really want it. It's dangerous. You'll betray yourself. You'll lose yourself. You'll lose your freedom. Like, you don't really want it. So the first step is always claiming that desire. And sometimes, like, we protect ourselves by denying that desire, resisting that desire, because maybe we've had it in the past and we failed, or we've been really disappointed, or we've been rejected in some ways, and we don't want that hurt anymore. So we'll deny our desire because we don't want to be hurt. So the first thing is that, in level one, we talked about our own judgment and our own relationship with money as an external thing. People who have money and money itself. This here is an invitation to reclaim something inside of you and to change your relationship to yourself regarding money and regarding your true desire. We have to claim and embrace within us, in our body, not just up here, but deeply in here, that there's nothing wrong and nothing bad with wanting more than enough. It doesn't make us sellouts. It doesn't make us greedy. It doesn't mean that we're not deeply spiritual or deeply focused on our craft or on helping the world and supporting the world in some ways. On the contrary, the more you have, the more you can support the world. So we have to really start healing the wounds in us, the knots, the block in us that lead us to feel ashamed or guilty or to judge ourselves for what we desire. One of the code I work with in my transcendence program, when I rewire the nervous system, one of the wounds and one of the recoding we do in there is being able to safely want and ask. Like, it's safe to want more, and it's safe to ask for what we want. So just like wealth is health, this shift here is about owning that our desires are soul given, including the desire for wealth. The desire to have more than enough, the desire to be rich, even that word rich feels a little weird, right? Like, that might be something I have to work with in my own nervous system. Like, saying that word out loud, I want to be rich, feels weird. I was reading, I don't know who, I was reading something or watching a video by someone, and they were talking about going to one of those like big money summits or something like that, and they saw this woman who was one of the main speakers. I think she does wealth management for women, like helps women. She's actually pretty famous. And she walked up on stage and literally looked at this huge crowd and said to them, I stand here before you, a very, very rich woman, and I'm proud to say this out loud. And the person who was talking about it was talking about how that hit her body, like the boldness, the anchoredness of that, like, and how it showed her how many more, like how much money wounding there was still in her body, because she was shocked by the ability of this woman to show up on stage and to say that out loud and to claim it with that much pride in her voice and in her stance. And that's basically where we have to get to slowly. And we do that work in the body. It's not up here, it's all in here, below the conscious thoughts, deep within our nervous system. So we have to be able to fully and unapologetically claim that the desire to have more than enough is fundamentally holy and healthy, and that desire is our destiny. Because something that is boldly and unapologetically owned becomes your destiny. You can't have it be a reality until you can own it and claim it on the inside without any kind of like showing up. Because if there's any resistance, if there's any friction, if there's any shame that shows up, then that's going to create a shield. That's going to create a block so that you can't receive. So you're going to work. You're going to do, and you're not going to be able to receive, and you're going to wonder what you're doing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. There's something inside you that says, we're not comfortable bringing in this much. We're not comfortable receiving abundantly. So you're going to sabotage the process. You're going to block your ability to actually see results to the work that you put out there. So part of claiming that is that all of you, all parts of you, need to be able to own that you know, like that what you desire is also what you deserve, and that it's okay to want more than enough. It's good, it's safe to have that desire, and essentially work at really bringing back your nervous system into regulation and into expansion. And work with all the parts of you who are afraid or ashamed to want at that higher level. By the way, it's not all of you. That's always the issue, right? There's that tug of war. There's usually parts of us who want that and are really comfortable claiming it and owning it. And then there's part of us who have that friction, who have that contraction and feel weird, feel icky, feel uncomfortable with owning that level of desire. Those are the parts that we have to work with. We have to bring them back in regulation. We have to nourish them, and we have to teach them how to expand into being able to hold more so that we can receive more. If you don't do that work, you will literally resist and sabotage your evolution, your growth, your ability to be in a deeply nourishing, delightful relationship with money. And that's what we want. In the end, business is about impact and it's about pleasure. It's about doing something that's going to make us feel really amazing inside our lives and inside our body, and is going to create amazing shift for the world out there. Now, let me prove to you that your desire for wealth is holy and healthy. And that it's literally soul driven and soul given. Like, it's given to you by your soul. Let me ask you this. If you had more than enough money and you had more coming in consistently so you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do with it? At first, you might spend, you might pay off your debt, you might make sure your kids had a college fund, you might do all of this. But I know a lot of very wealthy people who are good people. And you know what? When you've got more than enough and you trust the flow of money in your life, you give it back. You find ways to serve the world with it. So from that perspective, you can tell that good people who do good work, when they make good money, they do more good. From that perspective, health is inherently good. It is the root of all goodness rather than all evil. And without it, we can't do the good things we want to do. We can't show up from that place of service and empowerment and feeling safe and relaxed in our own body so that we can serve others in a powerful, generous manner. That's essentially what the world needs now more than ever. The world needs good people making really good money so they can do more good things with it. So that's number two. Number two is you have to shift your relationship with yourself about wanting to have that money, and you have to be willing to essentially remove and heal and make whole, repair and recode anything within your nervous system that says, I don't want money. It's not okay for me to want money. It's not safe for me to want money, so that you can really own and claim that desire as holy, as healthy, as soul given and soul driven. Because until you can do that, you can't receive it. Or when you receive it, you'll sabotage it and it'll end up slipping right through your fingers. The third aspect is like once you've essentially, you see that wealth is health and you've removed a lot of the judgment, criticism, negativity that you have about money and about people who have more than enough. And you've rewired what's going on within you, and you're working actively with all the programming within you, all the parts of you who are afraid to say yes to their desires. And you see the benefits, the grand picture of money as goodness. Then the third step is you have to declare it, you have to decide, and you have to dedicate yourself to building wealth, not just for yourself, but for the inherent goodness of it. You do it for your family, you do it for how much you're going to be able to serve the world from this position of empowerment, of being relaxed, of feeling safe in your life. So you like essentially you start looking at wealth the way you look at love. Like you declare it, you decide, you dedicate yourself to building, to allowing, to spreading more love / wealth. Because in the end, they're not that different. And of course, to do that, we need to repair and make whole anything within us, any program in our nervous system that's going to block us from receiving it, that's going to block us from creating what we need to create, executing, showing up in the way we need to show up in the world. So part of declaring and deciding, and this is when we're stepping into a piece of sovereignty here, is you're not just declaring and deciding that wealth is your desire. Of course, it's a desire, but you're actually going to start declaring and deciding that it is actually also your birthright. And it is good, and you're dedicated to that goodness. You want to be able to say it out loud. You want to be able to feel it in your body as nectar, something that feels sweet and abundance and flowing in your body. And you want to truly be able to make it your own in your bones, make it a truth without any kind of shame, without any kind of guilt. Something that you are proud, just like that woman on stage, that you are proud to speak out loud and to stand for. And you want that for yourself, and you want that for the world, essentially. Like you literally at that point are working to almost feel like when you're talking about wealth, you're talking about love. They're one and the same. So the word decide actually comes from the root to cut off in size. It comes from that same root. When you decide something, you cut off any other options. You become unavailable within yourself and outwardly for anything that is not that. So when you decide and when you claim that abundance, prosperity, wealth is good, and it is your truth and your desire and your birthright, you become unavailable for anything else. What that means is that any remnants of shame, any remnants of guilt, any judgment towards yourself or another, around money, around wealth, any feeling of unworthiness, like you're not worthy of having this much, you're not worthy of charging this much, any um, any hint of scarcity, of lack still held within you that will block the receiving needs to become your priority in terms of repairing and making that whole and being able to release whatever energy is locked up in that wound so that you can receive with ease, so that you can share with ease. That's the third step of declaring and deciding. And then you dedicate yourself, you do the inner work of that, and then you dedicate yourself outwardly to doing what needs to be done to actually be able to create that. Like, this isn't a manifestation technique where you just get to journal and sit and visualize it and then it just shows up. No, like life, the world is a partnership. We have to be in action. We have to be putting outward energy for things to come back inward. So there's the inner declaration, and then there's the outer declaration through our actions, through how we show up in the world, through being able to execute and commit to showing up in a way that is filled with abundance, that is filled with prosperity, that is filled with the certainty of that declaration. Remember at the beginning of this live, I said, money's not the issue. What's in our heart is the issue. People who are rooted, anchored, who are wired and coded in their nervous system for abundance do amazing things with money. And people who are contracted, who are afraid, who are in lack or in scarcity in their nervous system, they're the ones who tend to exploit or hang on to money or have an unhealthy relationship with money. I don't care how much money they have. I've met some wealthy people who are always worried about money. And these people don't have the healthiest relationship with money, with their family members, with the world, with how they handle themselves. I was raised by someone like that, who hid money and felt like everybody was out to get him in some way, shape, or form. So the issue is never money. Money is essentially good. The issue is what seed, what program is running deep within us, and are we making sure it's the right program? So when we decide this, we're literally committing to doing the recoding work in our nervous system and to regulating yourself through all the setbacks. When you declare that your nature is abundance, that your code and what you stand for is abundance, is wealth, is the goodness of wealth, and that you declare that you have a healthy, amazing relationship with money, then you commit to working out all the kinks internally, right? And you also commit to regulating yourself through the setbacks. You commit to working through the fears that are going to pop up, the judgy thoughts are going to pop up, the worried thoughts are going to pop up, and any kind of confusion or shame or guilt that's going to come up as you anchor in this new code. Because it's like everything else. When we start to shift into a different paradigm, into a different reality, we literally got two programs running. And like the old story of the wolves, the one that's going to really start building roots is the one that you are going to feed and water. And the one that's going to lose power is the one that you're going to weed. You're literally going to work through, but you're not going to give a whole lot of attention. That's the way momentum works. It takes a while to start seeing results. So we want to be able to hold ourselves through that little pocket of time between the time where you're still got one foot in an old reality and one foot in a new relationship, in a new millionaire mindset, essentially, and millionaire coding on the inside. So your old programming, your contractions in your nervous system are always going to be the thing that holds you back the most. And that's the biggest work. That's why I always say that investing in some kind of inner work is never a waste. You can invest in a marketing program or some kind of course for a strategy and realize this strategy either no longer works in this day and age or is totally out of alignment with who you are and how you want to grow your business, and essentially have uh, um, an investment be a little bit of a bust. I've definitely experienced that. I have never experienced doing inner work as not a powerful, worthwhile investment. And inner work, the kind of nervous system work that I'm talking about, is the work that makes everything you do in your business actually work in the end. It is what unlocks your ability to receive results, to receive them fast, to receive them with ease and in a way that is both nourishing to you personally as a human and also nourishing in terms of financially what you're able to bring in and what you're able to do. Only when we expand and recode our internal circuitry can we feel safe not only owning, claiming out loud what we really want, but actually being able to create it out there in the world and receive the bounties, the fruits of our labor without shame, without doubt, without fear, without sabotaging it or resisting it in some kind of way. That's one of the first thing I do in my transcendence program, is to help people give themselves permission to get big, permission to take space so that they can soar and thrive. That's always the first step. When that permission is well anchored in place in your nervous system, in your body, then you can design the strategies that are simple, that are in alignment, and you actually start being able to actually execute these strategies from the right energy and in the right consistent way. But the expansion work, the recoding work, the shifting how we see wealth, how we see money, how we relate to ourselves and to money, or to ourselves with money, and feeling safe, becoming wealthy, welcoming money, be feeling safe, becoming big enough so that we can do big things and we can receive in big ways, always come first. If not, you're going to work your ass off to receive a lot less than you deserve and a lot less than what's possible. It'll be like driving your car with the parking brakes on. It's going to take a lot more effort. It's going to feel a lot harder than it actually needs to. So here's what I have for you. If you sense that you are blocking your ease and success in some way, and you feel like you're ready to rewire yourself, you're ready to do the work so that you can really have some business growth in a way that's delightful, that's easeful, and you can have wealth without stressing, without second guessing, without pushing or sabotaging yourself, then I might be the right mentor for you. I make wholeness and happiness an integral part of success, and I focus on helping you achieve your goals without having to struggle so damn much or without having to work so damn hard, by marrying both the simple business strategies with the nervous system regulation, expansion, rewiring, recoding work that's needed so you can create the results you want in a way that feels easeful and in a way that nourishes both your soul and your bank account. There's essentially two ways to work with me. You can schedule a free 30-minute Wired for Wealth clarity call, and you can click the link up on the description of this video to do that, or below if you're on YouTube. And during this call, we're essentially going to figure out like what you need to get unstuck internally, what you need to recode both in your nervous system and also in your work, in your business, to get to the results you desire. And we're going to discuss which of my programs might be the best fit for you. Like depending whether or not you're really focused on the strategies, on messaging, your offers, your pricing, your marketing, then one offer might be a slightly better fit for you. If you're really working on the nervous system and really aligning your business with the nervous system, then another offer might be a little bit of a better fit for you. And I also have um, some shorter offers. So I have a number of different ways that you and I can work together, depending on what you need, depending on your time, your energy level, and depending on your finances. The other way you and I can start working together is you can book a 90-minute Wired for Wealth breakthrough intensive. And I make those available for essentially 55% off for new clients so that you can really experience what it's like to work with me. At a really affordable price, and then you can decide whether or not you want to continue working together. And during these 90-minute intensives, usually what we do is we pick one thing. Like we'll pick one thing in your business, whether that's your messaging, whether that's creating a quantum offer, whether that's something in your nervous system or in your marketing strategy. We'll pick one thing for us to really go in deep and work through so you can have a breakthrough and you can have a real shift that you can hold on, that's going to be really helpful for you. Um, so same thing, if you would prefer a Wired for Wealth breakthrough intensive, you can click the link above and you're going to have a choice to do either the free 30-minute call or the intensive. Personally, I would absolutely love to help you unlock your potential, create easeful and fast results, and help you succeed in a way that's going to really truly honor you. That's what I've got for you. I hope today was helpful. Feel free to reach out to me, DM me, let me know what was helpful in here, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.